So we'll go ahead and get started. Scott, if you want to start with your market update, and then we'll move to our main topic, which is listing appointments. They look different now, so I want everybody to be prepared. So go ahead, Scott.
All right, perfect. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm so thankful that I could be on this morning. We only have 3 more weeks of baseball, and then I could be back here every Saturday morning. I do miss these meetings because I do get a lot out of them, and they get me pumped up for the weekend. Because I mean, I'm always working, so if I can learn something and share it over the weekend, I do love this meeting. All right, market update. So. A lot of conversations that I've been having the last few weeks, let's just say since mid-September after the first Fed rate cut, is, mortgage rates have been on the rise and they are skyrocketing again. And the questions that I'm getting from buyers is, oh, no, the Fed's cut the rates. Rates have gone down. Rates have gone down. Well, not exactly. They did go down, but they've gone back up. The 10-year treasury was under 4%. It's currently over 4.3% right now. The average market or average interest rate in the US right now is almost 7.25%. So they have gone up quite a bit because a few weeks ago we were looking at rates in the high fives with maybe a discount point, but now they've pushed back up. So the reason this is happening is the inflationary reports that have been coming out are still showing signs of inflation, and that drives the bond market up, which increases mortgage rates. Now, this last week we're through 3. We have 2 more economic reports and things that we've come through. So last week we had the GDP, or the third quarter GDP wasn't good. The PCE report, which is the measure on inflation, Americans are still spending and using credit, which is inflationary, drives rates up. The one report that we got yesterday was the jobs report, and the jobs report came out where beneficial for rates. So the job creation was a loss of around like 12,000 jobs, which typically is a very good thing for a bond rally. And we started off the day with a very good run on bonds. And for whatever reason, it flipped. We had a price deterioration. Rates got worse again. So for the first time in my 20-something years doing this, I've never seen a jobs report come out how you would expect it and want it to be for rate improvement. And rates got a little over a quarter worse. So the next 2 that are coming up next week are very, very big, probably 2 of the biggest ones. We have the presidential election on Tuesday, and the Feds speak on Wednesday. So presidential election, not getting political at all. One candidate will, based on, and this is part of the reason rates have been rising too, one candidate, if they are elected, they expect rates will stay higher for longer, or another candidate, if they're elected, rates will come down sooner. So big, tomorrow or Tuesday is a big thing for bond market rates. So we'll see what happens there. And then the following day on Wednesday, the Feds will speak again. Since the last cut, we were all expecting another 0.5% cut in rate. Now it's expected, if we get a rate cut, it'll be 0.25% in the federal funds rate. That's if we get a cut. So the way Jerome Powell and the Feds have been speaking, we may not even get a rate cut next week. So if we do, it'll be around 0.25%. Again, I've said it before. Mortgage rates are not tied to the federal funds rate, but they will kind of follow each other. As that comes down, rates will come down too. But we still need inflation to continue to come down for those mortgage rates. So that's what's going on in the market right now. We've talked about it before. Regardless of where rates are, at some point, that buyer will be able to refinance that loan, lower their payment, but they won't be able to lower that price point when things do come down and buyers move back into the buyer pool and start buying, which means more competition, driving up prices, supply and demand. So with that, that is my market update for the weekend. And as always, if you need anything this weekend, call me or text me. I'm available to help you, answer phone calls. Today, I do have that late baseball game, so I'll be available anytime after 2 p.m. today.
Thank you, Scott. Very
Yeah,
informative.
that was wonderful. How do you make that so understandable? Like normally I glaze over, but I got it.
Because I go through things that make it in very much layman's terms for me. Because I'm one of those that has to like read something like 4 or 5 times for it to process, like my comprehension of things. I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, it kind of made sense, but I need to read it again, and I'll kind of work on it and practice it and read it.
Well, I appreciate that. That was a very comprehensive report, and
Of course.
I'm sure we'll want to know what's happening next week. For
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Scott. We'll go ahead.
Welcome.
I forgot to mention too that we have an announcement from Tanya, our escrow officer. So we'll start with Monica. She's our guest speaker. She's going to be talking about listing appointments, how to prepare. And then we'll move to Tanya with the update. So go ahead, Monica. Let's hear about listing appointments.
Okay, sure. Yeah, what I wanted to do was kind of talk about how to get ready for the listing appointment. There's, tons of things we can talk about how to get the listing appointment, how to find the seller and make an appointment and decide who you want to sit down and talk to. But assuming that you have spoken with somebody or somebody referred someone to you who's interested in talking about, how to sell their home or they're thinking about it or whatever, I say it's always the best to have an in-person meeting about that. Don't do that over the phone. Don't try to go over all the things about listing their house and selling and moving over the phone. It's way too much information. They're not going to bond with you over the phone. I would say the only time to even do it over Zoom is if the seller is like out of state and there's just no way to meet in person. So always try to set up an in-person appointment to go and meet them. And when you're doing that, when you're making the appointment, and then maybe also when you're calling to confirm it, try to do some things that help you to pre-qualify the person, unless you really know them very, very well and you know their situation very, very well, like they're a longtime friend, you know all about them. You kind of need to know some details about why they want to sell, why they want to move. Do they have to move or do they want to move? Do they have to sell or do they want to sell? There's going to be a very big difference in motivation based on that info that you can get from them. Why is it really that they want to do this or that this is happening? When do they want to move? What's their time frame? Is it like the next 3 months? Is it a year from now? This helps you to kind of gauge how that appointment's going to go. And kind of what price do they have in mind for their home? Everybody thinks they know the value of their home. They've all been on Zillow or whatever. And it's not about trying to have a discussion with them about it. You're just kind of trying to get an idea. Is it even remotely in the ballpark of reality of what they think they can get for their home? Are they talking to other agents? Are you the only one that is being interviewed or that they're talking to about this? Because sometimes you are. Sometimes you are the only one that they know, and that's the first conversation. Great. But sometimes that's not the case, especially if they were a referral. And if you can, try to find out what's most important to them. Is it getting the best price? Is it doing it the fastest? Is it, just getting as much help with the move as possible or figuring out how they're going to buy their next home, whatever is the most important factor or a couple factors that are important to them. If you can get some of that information early on, great. If not, you can do it during the appointment too. There's times when you can kind of bring up these questions, but it's really helpful to know that up front before you get there. because you can kind of prepare. And I would say that's the other thing I wanted to say as far as preparation is, what do you have to get ready for your listing appointment? Because when I first started doing this, I was like, I don't even know what to bring. What am I doing here? You know? So for a while, I was just bringing my CMA. That's it. And yeah, the CMA, if you go into like the cloud suite over there, you can make a really nice CMA, and it has information about the selling process too, but it's really not specific to you. And if you're just walking in there with one of those, like I did for a couple of years, you're no different than any other agent out there. And right now, they're really, really going to be choosy and picky. Both buyers and sellers, you know, you really got to show them that, like, you're the guy, you're the one that's going to help them. You're the one that's going to give them all the solutions and handhold them through the process and make it super simple. And it's not going to be a headache with you, right? So that's the point of the information that you give them, is to make them feel really comfortable with you, that you've got their best interest in mind. So once they feel that, and once they have a sense of that, and once they vibe with you, and you know, that's not going to happen every time, but once they do, the choice of having you list their house is going to be a formality. It's going to be like, oh, where do I sign? You know, it's not really going to be a question at that point. The listing appointment is more about connecting with them and showing them that you're the one that can help them. Especially if they're only talking to you. Now, if you're competing against other agents, it's even more important that you do that. But even if it's just you, just make them feel comfortable about the process and that you got their back, right? So the things that you want to have ready and get ready before your appointment are a CMA. If you don't know how to do one, this is a question for Bobby, and there's a gazillion videos and tutorials and resources out there to help you make one. I'm happy to help you with that as well. So run your CMA, figure out what the comps are, figure out what the numbers are, and go based on any information that you know about the house. Maybe it's a friend and you know their home. Maybe it's not. So if there's any actives in the neighborhood that are going to be in direct competition with this house on the market, go see them. Go preview it. Just make an appointment and go there before your appointment. Because that is going to go a long way in helping you to make the difference between the two properties. And also, you can tell that to the seller. Hey, look, I saw that house down the street that's listed for sale, and that's going to be your direct competition. And here's how you need to position yourself to be better than that one, right? So make sure you see them if there's any like that, like on the street or on the block or a couple blocks away or something like that. And check the title report. You don't have to run a full title report, but just do the one from that you can check online to see who's on title. Is it just the person you're meeting with? Is it a couple? Is it in a trust? What's the situation there? That'll give you some information. And I would say the only other thing to check is days on market and maybe like the list to sale ratio in the area. In other words, how long are homes sitting on the market in that neighborhood? And when they're going for sale, are they selling at that price, underneath, or over? Because every neighborhood is going to be different. And just as a general numbers, this way you can give them some realistic expectations. You know, hey, in your neighborhood, it takes this long to sell a house. And when they do sell, it sells for about 97% of the list price or whatever. This helps if it comes up in the conversation. If, for example, time and price are issues to them, are concerns of theirs. So the other thing I would say to get ready, and this is optional, obviously, but I found that it could really, really help you during the presentation, is to send them what I call a pre-listing presentation before the meeting. And this would be some information about yourself, about your services, about what you're going to do for them, right? And how you do your business of selling a property. And letting them review that information before you get there it kind of pre-sells you so that you don't have to get there and be like, I can do this and I can do this and I've done this. It's awkward sometimes to talk about yourself. And so, hold on a second, because my phone's, I don't want you. So it kind of helps to just get them to feel like they know a little bit about you before you get there. You know, just build that trust even a little bit more. Maybe shortens the conversation when you do get there because you don't have to go over all that stuff because they've already seen it. And this, I'll show you an example of the one that I made. This took me a while, so I don't expect any of you to have something like this, but I have a little notebook like this, right? I'm gonna put our logo on the front here. I just didn't do this with this sample one. And it looks like this. Okay, here. Wait, okay, there we go. Sorry, I'm tripping out with the camera here. So each one of these is like an individual sheet, right? That they can pull out. It's got this cute little cascade feature that comes up and down. It's got different topics on either side. This one is more about me. This one is more about just general services and what I'm going to do. And each one has some bit of information. Like, for example, the resume one talks about me. You know, oh, see, I can't. I can't work the angle here. Okay, this is ridiculous. So this one is a resume. I mean, basic resume. This just has information about how long I've been in the business and what I'm doing and a picture of me and a testimonial, you know? If nothing else, make a resume for yourself and not a boring one like we did back in like college when we were applying for our first job where it's just text. Have some visuals on there. Make a resume for yourself because all this, at the very least, giving them some information ahead of time is what's expected if you're a professional. You know, if you walk into any professional's office, you expect them to give you a list of services and you expect them to tell you, here's what I'm going to do for you. You expect to see a brochure or a resume or something, right? Just like you expect them to have a website, otherwise they're not real, you know? So have some things that you can give them. The one I have here is a resume. I have a meet the team. This one's really easy to do. Ooh, again, okay. So this one just has me. It shows that Bobby, it shows Scott, it shows Ashley for my online marketing, Chastity for leasing, and Jan for TC services. Now, whether or not I'm going to use these people in the transaction, I don't know, but it's like, here's my team, you know, I'm not the only one. We all got you, right? So it just makes it seem like you're more ready, especially if you're brand new and you don't really have a lot to talk about as far as past sales. And if you don't, that's okay. You can talk about the sales of your team, AKA California Curb Appeal. Talk to Bobby and let her give you some numbers, and you can use those numbers until you have your own. This one I think is really, really good, called Communication Guarantee. Oh, okay, there we go. This one is going to tell them, hey, under for sure, you're never going to have to worry about not being able to reach me, and I'm always going to communicate a million things to you. It even starts out at the top saying, according to the National Association of Realtors, 70% of the public thought their agent did a poor job communicating with them. Not Monica George, right? And then you're going to say on here all the things that you're going to do and how you're going to follow up with them and when are you available and what information you're going to give them on a regular basis. At the very least, once a week, if you're not communicating with them once a week, if they're your client, then you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And this is something you can say, hey, I guarantee you I'm going to do this. It's an easy thing to guarantee because you're going to call them once a week anyway. And then on the other side is more general information like your marketing plan, right? What are you going to do for them? And this one is one of the biggest sheets because I intend to tell them I'm going to do a lot of things. Am I going to necessarily do all of this for every transaction? No. Half the time, definitely not. But I could if needed. You know, it all depends on how much you need, right? Show them samples of your brochures. Make it a point that you are going to have brochures that you're going to market their property. All these different things that you can do, you can put in here, you can create this stuff. It's not hard. Take a little bit of time to put some stuff together. And if you are terrible at this, no worries, Canva's got you. Ask Ashley for some help to go onto Canva. There's like so many sample versions of this that other agents have put together. You pay 15 bucks, you get it one copy, you edit it for yourself, done. That's like half an hour of your life. You know what I mean? Maybe a couple of hours if you got to figure out your numbers because you've never figured out your numbers before, you know? So I say have something to send them. And if you put something together like this, whether you have it printed out or whether you have it in a digital format, send it to them like a day before. And make a point of saying, hey, I'm sending this to you. Please review it. Make sure you take a look at it and think about any questions that you have or any concerns that you have, things like that. So it kind of preps them and also makes the appointment more of a priority for them and more important for them. And it shows that you're ready. You're taking it seriously. This isn't just another like, you know, date on your book, right? If you have nothing, if you have nothing to send them right now, that's fine. Maybe at the very least, when you call or text to confirm the appointment the day before or the morning of, just make a little video of yourself on your phone. Instead of calling them, just say, hey, you know, I just wanted to confirm that our appointment is at 11 o'clock tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you. And if you want to check out any information about me, you can see it on our website, or hey, by the way, here's a link to my Facebook page if you want to friend me and follow me, you know, for helpful real estate information. Maybe they're not a friend with, you know, following you or something like that. So just give them something and give them your face, you, visually and with audio. Just a text alone or just an email alone is fine, but it doesn't help them connect with you. The little video just makes them feel like, oh, I know you when you show up. You're like, yeah, I already met her. Maybe they even like you from the video. Maybe they don't. I don't know, but it helps. Trust me. So I would say send them that the day before just to confirm, and definitely send them any information that you have about yourself the day before, but don't include the CMA in that. That's something that you do during the appointment. Don't include anything about pricing or your fees or anything like that. You know, you can leave that for during the appointment. Send them stuff about what you can do for them. So that's really the best things that you can do to prepare for the appointment. The other things I would like to say as far as the appointment itself, and then later on, maybe next week or something like that, we can get into what do you actually do when you get there? How do you start the appointment? What do you say? What topics should you talk about? How do you address their concerns? How do you close? How do you get them to sign? Oh, bye, Scott. We can talk about all that stuff later because it's like a longer conversation, but there are a few things I wanted to mention to make sure that you do and that you don't do before the appointment and kind of during the appointment too. Do arrive early. Please, please, please do not plan to arrive on time. On time is late. I know, the old saying. I hate it too. But plan to arrive there like 20 minutes early at least. Because you never know, there's going to be, there's going to be traffic. Last minute, you're going to spill something on your shirt. And you're going to have to go back into the house and change. Whatever, I don't know. Plan to arrive early. At the very least, you're there early. You have time to kind of compose yourself, especially if you're nervous. Maybe you review some of your notes that you put together. Maybe you touch up your makeup. Or if you really, really have time, you could kind of drive by a couple of the comps just to get a feel for the neighborhood. Just arrive early, period. And try to shoot to like knock on their door at least a few minutes before the appointment. You know, don't be there right on time. I just feel like people appreciate that so much. And if you show up even a few minutes late, they're going to be like, man, are they even taking this seriously? Like, I got stuff to do. So that's a big one. And dress, I don't know, the dress, that one's always hard for me. I hate wearing business suits. That's not me. I'll do it if I have to, but I don't want to do it. Just dress professionally, something that's comfortable. Be comfortable. If you're uncomfortable and the bra's digging in and you're sweating and oh, the appointment's going to go awful, just be comfortable. But dress maybe just a little bit better than they do. If you know them, you'll know what that's like. If you don't know them, shoot for, businessy or casual businessy or something like that. And if it's, 1,000 degrees outside, don't show up in flip-flops. I don't care what the weather is like, just be professional. And maybe some of the things not to do, or don't park in their driveway ever. I don't care if it's empty. I don't care if the house is vacant. Don't park in their driveway. You never know who you're going to be blocking that is going to show up during the appointment or that needs to pull out of the garage. That's just going to piss them off. Don't do that. And no politics, period, especially right now. If they bring it up, be Switzerland or, oh, I don't know, I don't really pay attention. Just don't go there because those conversations will lead you guys down weird paths. It's best just to not go there at all. And when you get there, if you notice that they have their shoes off, they're one of those families where they take their shoes off or they don't wear shoes in the house, even if you don't see a pile of shoes, take yours off, right? Be considerate of how they live and how they take care of their home. So plan for that, depending on what shoes and socks you're wearing. Don't have like crazy toes that day. Do you know what I'm saying? And the other thing I think is a bit of a touchy one is if they offer you something during the appointment. Oh, would you like a drink? Would you like a coffee? Would you like this cake I made, cookies, whatever? Yes, yes to everything, always, always yes. Always yes. Never ever is oh, I'm allergic to that, or is there gluten in that? No, 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 no. You say yes. Thank you very much. That's fantastic. You put it in front of you, and if you don't want to touch it, don't touch it. At the end of the appointment, if if you can always say something like, oh my gosh, I got so busy, I didn't even eat the cookie. Would you mind if I take it with me? And then put it in your bag and throw it out if you don't want it. But take the cookie. People get really, really offended when you say no, thank you, as politely as possible. They get really offended. Some people do. So just, be mindful of that, especially if they cooked it. My God. And I would say the only other thing to just keep in the back of your head is during the appointment, especially like at the beginning of the appointment when you're walking around looking at their house and you're touring it and doing all that, be enthusiastic. You love everything they love. Their house could be hideous, but if they like it, you like it. If they're complaining about it, you can take note of the things they're worried about so that you can discuss those things later and try to find ways to make it more palatable for other buyers. But if you see something that you think is going to be like, oh God, that needs to come down, don't say that. Don't say that then. That is not the time to bring up what they need to change. Right then is a time to appreciate their home because they like it. They put it there. Obviously, they like it. The moose head that he's so proud of. Yeah, of course it shouldn't be there during showings, but that's not the time to bring it up. After they sign with you is the time to bring it up. In the beginning, you love everything they love. You are enthusiastic about the possibility with what each room can offer and the features there. Just let them talk about their space and be happy about it with them and ask a lot of questions about why they love the house, why they love the neighborhood, why did they choose it, why did they move there. They're going to give you a lot of info that you can use to talk to other buyers that might appreciate and like those same things. So be enthusiastic and keep in the back of your head the idea that as much as whether or not you believe it, keep it in the back of your head that they're probably going to sign with you. The reality of it is a lot of people don't interview more than one agent. They sit down, they have a conversation with one agent, and unless it goes terribly wrong somehow, they're probably going to sign with that agent. So don't overwhelm yourself with the idea that they're going to have all these objections and they're going to have all these issues and I'm going to have to like fight them on everything. No, walk in there assuming you got it. Act as if. The more you act that way, the more they're gonna see you as their agent, the more they're gonna be that much more inclined to want to just do that, right? So be enthusiastic and keep at the front of your mind the idea that, you know, this is going to go well. This is going to be the result that helps them and helps you, right? Because that's the whole point. You help them, they help you with money and referrals and everything else. So that's kind of the things I wanted to mention about getting ready, because I think they're important. And it took me a while to kind of feel like I wasn't walking in there like, the hell am I going to say? What am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And I think doing these things and preparing a little bit and getting that stuff ready, even if it's just a CMA for now, and just thinking about these things in your head a little bit before you get there, it helps you feel more comfortable, less nervous, more confident about having that conversation with them. And you know, the less nervous you are, the less you'll, you know, word vomit all over them during the appointment. Because I did that too for many years. There's too much talking because I would get nervous. So if you guys have questions, I'm happy to answer more about the getting ready part or the getting your things ready. And if any of you want to see samples of the pre-listing stuff that I showed you here, I'm happy to send you copies so you could see what I did. But like I said, there's a lot of them out there that you can just kind of take the templates also. It makes it very easy. And yeah, any questions?
Monica, that was fabulous. You mentioned so many things that I had never even thought about doing, like, for example, the taking what they offer you. You know, it seems like such a small thing, but to them, it's huge. And they are evaluating you from the moment you step in that house to the moment you leave. They're watching you to see who you are. What kind of person are you? And so, yeah, all of those, great job. Also, I put a question in the comments. Do you
Oh, I
have
didn't see
a
that.
template for the pre-listing pack, or should they just go online and search for
I
something?
don't really have it as a template. I made one for myself, right? So I can show you guys the one I made just so you could see an idea of what I put there, but you might want to put different information there. You might want to put different pages there. I feel like, and I did that based on other samples that I saw, and I kind of picked and choose the topics that I thought kind of worked for me, because each one of you is going to have different skills and traits that you want to highlight about your service. So I think look at samples, see what's out there. I'm happy to share my sample with you if you want, and then figure out which way you want to go and what information you want to put in there. Maybe it's just 2 or 3 pages, fine, but something, give them something, right? A little something about you so that they feel like they kind of know a little more about you and what you can offer before you get there.
Okay, we only have 2 minutes left. I have 2 questions, so I'm so sorry. The first one, I remember you talking about this pre-listing pack, and you said something like, you give them this pre-listing pack, it's in order, like they're cascaded like this.
Mhm.
Whatever they pull out is going to be out of order. So when you get there, if you see their pre-listing pack and you saw what they pulled out because they're now out of order, kind of gives you a tip what is important to them. Like let's say,
Exactly.
let's say they picked out, what is a net sheet? Then you
Right.
know the money is, the net, amount that they're gonna receive at the end of this is really important to them. So I remember you talking about that little trick and
Exactly. Oh, and
yeah,
that, you know what,
going
that's actually
through.
one of the things I didn't mention because honestly, it's just normally part of my CMA. Make a net sheet. Don't walk in there without one. And that can be based on a range. It can be a net sheet for a range of values, from this sales price to this sales price, but definitely have that available as well. So if you need the CMA net sheet, if you need to figure out how to do these, if you want to figure out how to do the pre-listing information, reach out to Ashley, reach out to me or Bobby, and we can help you figure some of those out.
Yeah. And then the second thing, you want to, and correct me if I'm wrong, you want to deliver this in as a hard copy. This is not something you want to email ahead of time, correct?
I think that would be best, to just drop it off and let them see it. It's another chance for you to just put your face in front of them and be like, make sure you review this before our appointment. I'm just on my way somewhere. I'm just going to drop this off, make it quick. But if you can't email it, do whatever you can to just get something in front of them. And I think these things help. It's not mandatory, it's not necessary, but it goes a long way. And anything you can do to help the process, to ensure that it goes as smooth as it can, because there's so many different ways that, they might just be like, or you get the, I don't know.
Need to talk about it.
Yeah, so we'll talk about how to talk about all that later, when we get into the actual listing appointment, but these are things that you can do to prep. And I think right now, like I said, it's the holiday times, maybe we have a little bit more at home time, maybe things are slower and you can work on this stuff a little bit, just put some things together. And don't worry about how it looks, just put it together. Yeah, it's not great, it's not perfect, whatever, it's something, you can fix it later. You can add to it later. You can improve it later. That was me for a long time. I didn't want to make it because it wasn't good enough. Just make something.
Yeah. We have students coming in. I want to get to thank you so much, Monica.
Yeah.
Your presentation was amazing. I
My
so
pleasure.
appreciate you. Monica is one of our agents that has probably the most information about the industry's averages, the industry's rules, the new changes, the forms. She really is, she really does take the time to learn all this stuff. So if you ever have any questions, I would highly recommend reaching out to Monica with those. She is one of our top minds for real estate. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing all the great information. I do want to get to Tanya before we we have students here now, but that's okay. They need to hear this too. So go ahead, Tanya.
Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Hi, good morning, everyone. And Monica, great presentation. I loved it. I learned a lot too. I'm just going to add a little bit to what Monica said about net sheets and bringing them to your listing appointments. That's somewhere where I can come and help as an escrow officer. I did some for Bobby this week. As you're ready to go out for your listing appointments, just email me. It's Tanya at Good Deeds Escrow. And let me know I'm going on a listing appointment. I need, like say the house is for 350,000, 375,000. Can you do a net sheet for me? And this way it's going to be really, really accurate because it's going to have like, basic title fees, escrow fees, things are going to already be in there. So when you do get them and say they're going to spend $5,000 in fees and escrow and title and all that, they'll know, and it'll be close to that number. So there won't be a lot of changes later on when they get to the actual signing in escrow. But Good Deeds Escrow is now open. We are in business. We actually have our first escrow. Thank you, Bobby. She got the first one in, which is going well, I think. Like I said, I was already prepared the net sheet for her. I'll be prior to she opened the escrow, so I'll be there to help you guys with that. We did do some new Life of the Escrow flyers. Ashley helped me with that, and we got those done. Those can be added into your listing packages that Monica just asked. So this way the client would know the process, the escrow process. You can see me or Ashley or Bobby, I think has them already too. And we could get those over to you so you can add those to your listing presentations. It's a definite plus. I'm excited about working with you guys all. I know there's always a lot of escrow questions, how it works. Oh, we did update the California Curb Appeal website with an escrow link. So now you can go in there at the top, you'll see it says escrow, you click that button, it's gonna give you all the information regarding Good Deeds Escrow, myself, all the services we provided, and also you can open escrow right from there. So like Monica's in Orange County, she doesn't have to come all the way to me to open the escrow. You can go directly there, put all the information, and that actually gives me a form that comes directly to me. We tested it, it works wonderful. So all that information comes directly to me like in an email, and I can open that escrow up for you and contact you and your clients and get you started. So I'm super excited.
That page looks awesome. I was just looking at it.
Thank you, Ashley. Ashley's actually here, so we
um,
can say thank you, Ashley.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
It looks fantastic.
Thank
Yeah.
It does. It really does. And Tanya is just amazing too. She's such a huge help. You know, if you ever have any questions regarding escrow or the process, or you need her to sit with your clients, anything like that. That's the beautiful part about having our own escrow. It brings everything together. It reduces the number of opportunities where error can happen, you know, in that lost in translation thing that, you know, sometimes happens with escrows. And it's just going to be a huge benefit for you. So if you have a listing, we ask that you open escrow with Good Deeds Escrow. If you're representing buyers, sometimes in certain markets, you can get your way. Don't be afraid to ask. They can only say no, right?
Right.
So yeah, thank you, everyone. We ran over a little bit, but I think it was all for a good purpose. Does anyone have any last minute questions before we roll over into real estate class? Okay, doesn't look like it. All right. Well, everyone have a productive weekend. I hope we don't get rain, but if we do, yay, I guess. If you have any questions for me, I will be around. So have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you all probably Monday.
Bye.
Bye-bye. If you're a student, just stay on. If you're there we go. All right, so we have Edmar, Kaylin, Sasha, Ashley, and Ishmael. Oh, I'm so happy, you guys. This is a big class. All right, so it's like the older students have kind of drifted away, and we have a whole new set. Well, not really. Let's see, we lost Sierra. She seems to work a lot on the weekends. And no, I guess Phil. Phil had some problems in his family. So I know he's dealing with that. So we're just gonna trudge ahead. First of all, I need to I need to hear from all of you. What did you get done this week? So we'll start with Edmar. Edmar, you're on chapter 3.
It's chapter 4 now. I just did my quiz for chapter 3.
How are you doing with the quizzes? Are they
Pretty good. Yeah, I've been passing them 80 and above every quiz that I've taken.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good score. All right. Kaylin, where are you at?
I'm still on chapter 1. I haven't been able to move forward, but I was telling Edmar that I'm gonna try to plan more accordingly. Because I don't want to be here the whole entire time still on chapter 1. So just trying to honestly find that balance between my job and then figuring out when to do it, how to do it on the weekends.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about that as soon as I go through everyone's updates. Sasha, where are you at?
Oh, sorry, I was trying to unmute. Bobby, I still honestly haven't moved past the test, but I'm gonna take it either today or tomorrow.
Oh, okay,
The
so
test I was supposed to take,
that's for which,
because remember I had finished the whole first section.
yeah,
I still honestly haven't, but I'm gonna make time this weekend to do it.
okay. Yeah, we were gonna try and do it at the office, but I think what happens is we just get
It
busy.
gets busy and
Yeah.
there's a lot of distractions.
Yeah, lots of distractions.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll talk about that too.
Okay.
Ashley, where are you at?
I'm currently about to take my test on chapter 12 in legal. So I'm almost to the end of legal because legal has 15 chapters. So I'm almost there, which would be my second module completed. So
Dang.
there's a light at the end of the tunnel there.
Oh my gosh, you're just getting like close enough that you can kind of see the end.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
So
Oh my,
it's been motivating to like, okay, we're kind of going downhill now. So let's go.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I cannot wait. Oh,
I know.
Ashley, you know,
It's been a
everybody,
long time.
yeah, well, everybody who's here in this little group that we have right now, all of you are just like, you have it. You have what it takes. You have that special ingredient. You know, for some people, it's more difficult than for other people because they have to kind of get past the whole presenting well in front of people. But you kind of, all of you in this room already have that, like you already come across very well. And so it's real exciting because you don't have to work as hard as maybe some others. And you're all within that age group that we really, really, really need to see agents. People like to work with people like themselves. So when I come across young people, yeah, I get the respect, but sometimes we don't relate. What's important to them isn't no longer important to me. I'm done raising a family, but they're just maybe getting started and, oh, Phil's here. Yay. Okay. So moving along, Ishmael, do you still need to buy the materials?
Yes, I do still need to. I'm waiting till Monday, so that I can actually sign up and start them because that's when I should have the funds to do so.
Okay. Well, let me know. Maybe we can work something out too. Okay. I just want you to get started because Ishmael, you like I just said, what I just said. All right. Phil, welcome. You probably can't-
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, we were just kind of checking in, seeing where everybody was at. Where are
Oh,
you at in
I
the?
am working on my third chapter. And yeah,
Oh my
so
gosh.
yeah.
Okay, so, oh wait, third class or third chapter?
No, my third chapter, I had to start all over again. So yeah.
Okay, here's a cautionary tale for everyone. Phil, do you want to share what happened?
Sure. I didn't realize that I had signed up almost a year ago and I went to go online. I was almost done, ready to take my test, and it expired. So I did call the company and they would not extend it for me. So I had to buy the class over and I'm retaking it. But I also see it as a positive because I can go through everything one more time, a little quicker this time.
Yeah, I actually see this as all positive,
Yeah.
because you want to be 100% prepared when you're in that test. And just
Correct.
taking a test anyway causes anxiety, and anxiety causes memory loss.
Okay. Well, I want to bring up one thing that you told me, Bobby. When Bobby was with me, she recognized that I can match the answers, but I might not have had the answer what the question was, which is not good. So hopefully this time around I can do a little bit better because I'm making my own cards. So that way my own flashcards after every test. So that way I can go through them.
That's great.
Yeah.
Those tools that we design for ourselves are the best ones because you know what you need. We all know what we need. even though, sometimes we don't want to admit it, we know what we need. So good for you. So I'm so
right.
happy. Okay, so I wanted to give you a couple of tips. The biggest problem with a course like this is holding yourself accountable. And I totally get it. I've taken online courses before. In fact, I have a test I need to take for an online course that I haven't, done so well. So the reason for this particular class is so that you have somebody that's checking in with you. You have your classmates that are, counting on you. You have a way to, just if you know that somebody's going to be asking you, where are you at this week? It just helps. That's what I need too. I think everybody on earth needs that. There are very few people that are just self-motivated, like truly. You might think they are, somebody can come off that way or appear that way, but somewhere there's somebody keeping them accountable as well. Maybe it's a family member, maybe it's as simple as an app or something like that. But we all need that. So don't feel like, you're different or unlike everybody else. No, use this group for what it's designed for. It's designed to help you stay accountable to the material, to keep you moving forward. It doesn't matter if you only get through one chapter in a week. The point is you got through one chapter in a week. It's not a race. I would like you to get a little competitive and, kind of compete against each other or compete against yourself. If you did one chapter this week, I'm going to do 2 chapters next week. Try to use those little tips and tricks to keep yourself moving forward. So find out what you need. Kind of look over the last, I don't know, 6 months, year, and see what is your MO? What is your standard operation? Is it something where if you know you have class coming, you'll hurry up and do a chapter? Or is it I can always find something else to do that keeps me busy enough that I don't actually ever get to it? Just do a little self-reflection. Find out what is going on with you, and then pick the tool to address that particular issue. If it's like, I'm going to talk about me. If it's that okay, this is me. I sit down, I'm ready to do the work, and I look over and there's dishes in the sink. And don't you know, I cannot do the work with dishes sitting in the sink. So I'm going to march right over there and I'm going to do those damn dishes. Now, the day before, when the dishes were in the sink and I had something else to do, it was no problem to ignore them. But now suddenly it's terribly important that I get them done first. So that's just my mind playing a trick on me, saying that I really don't want to get into the book. So I'm going to find something else that needs to be done and keep myself too busy to get to it. So that's one of my MOs. That's one of my little things that I do. So how am I going to address that one thing? So the way I would address that is I'm going to set an appointment for myself. And at that appointment time, I am only studying. It doesn't matter what else needs to be done, because during that appointment time is scheduled and set for me to do the studying. That's it. It doesn't matter if, it doesn't, I can't even think of an example, but it doesn't matter what else needs to be done. It doesn't matter if there's, a ton of dishes in the sink. It doesn't matter if there's, the floor needs vacuuming or the laundry. Doesn't matter. I've set this appointment for this particular activity and I'm going to do this activity or nothing at all. So that's one way to address that one particular instance. So reflect on your past 6 months, year. Find out what's going on with you. What do you do to get out of not doing, or to get out of doing the work that needs to be done to get these classes done? And then, address it head on, just head on, boom. The second thing that I wanted to address was something Ashley said. You said, I can't remember. Do you remember what you said? And I said, I'll address this after.
That I took forever. I don't know.
I can't remember.
I don't
Oh,
know.
I guess maybe I covered it. Who knows?
Sorry, I don't know.
I know. All right. So let's really try to get 3 chapters done each week. Now we're rolling into the holidays. The holidays are a great time to have that extra time to do things that we normally would not have time to do. For example, you all will have some time off during the holidays, no matter if you're in school. I don't think anyone here, oh, Ishmael's in school. Kaylin, are you in school? Maybe she stepped away. Anyway, school has breaks. Work has breaks. So take advantage of that time off. Now, of course, you're going to want to be shopping and whatnot, but take advantage of these days off and really jump into the material and try and get as much done as possible, because when January hits, we kind of want to be, almost there. Even those of you who are kind of at the beginning, there's really no reason that you can't get done, or at least a large part of it done during the holidays. And then, we want to have a target date set. So another thing that I want you to do, so the first thing was try to do at least 3 chapters a week, 3 chapters a week. That is not doable. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to look at where you're at. Oh no, the first thing was, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. First thing I want you to do is reflect on your last 6 months or 1 year. Figure out what you are doing to delay completion, and make a technique for addressing that head on. That's the first thing. Second thing I want you to do is make 3 your magic number. 3 chapters per week is the minimum. Okay, that's the second thing. The third thing I want you to do is I want you to look at where you're at in the material, and I want you to set a target date. I want you to have a date for completion. Now, that's not to be licensed, or because there's a lot of factors in there we don't have control over. But as far as completion of the material, I want you to have a target date in mind, and keep Phil's cautionary tale in mind. They expire, these materials expire. So find out when your expiration date is and make sure that your completion date is before that. If you need an extension, I think they're pretty good about giving you one. It just can't be after they expire. You want to contact them before your materials expire. Get that extension so that you don't lose all your hard work.
Yes, I can
so-
confirm that because I did have to do that.
Oh,
So
you
as
did.
long as you catch it before they expire, the guy was really kind and he re-upped the one that was going to expire for me. So if you do find yourself there, catch it before it's too late.
Awesome. Thank you for
Yeah.
that, Ashley. I'm glad that you were able to share that. Okay, so I want you to remember those 3 things. And next week, when we get together, I want to hear how you completed those 3 things. What is next week? Hang on. Next week is November 9th. I'm going to be in Vegas, but I will be on this call. You can bet your, it's kind of a weird trip, but it's kind of it's a work trip kind of, so it's not like I'll be torn away from something important. No, I will be here with you and we're going to go over those three things. And I want to hear some good stuff about how you're conquering these bad habits, or these these things that we do to get out of studying. All right. So after since I've gone over that stuff, oh, and I want to hear your target date too. I want to hear your completion date. Do we have any topics that need clarification that you went over this past week? Oops. Anybody? Okay, so let me go ahead. I will talk about another difficult subject, probate. Has everybody heard the word probate? It's a word that means it's the process that the estate will go through to determine the rightful owner of that property. So when somebody passes, if they pass, and what I mean is die, if they pass without a will or a trust or anything at all, it means they've died intestate. That's a word that you'll need to know. Intestate. If,
Bobby,
yes.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Okay, so they can have a will, but you really need to have the trust, correct? Because the trust is what covers you,
Yeah.
not the will by itself, correct?
You are absolutely right, because
Okay.
even if you have a will,
Hmm.
you still may have to go through probate. The only way to avoid probate is to have your property in a trust. So, going back to the word intestate, let me make sure I'm giving you the proper, because it's testate and intestate. One means with a will and one means without. Let me test definition. I just don't want to mix you up. Having made a valid will before one dies, he desired to die testate. So if you have a will, you are testate. So it's spelled Testate, testate. If you pass without a will, you are passing intestate. So in meaning without, okay? So those two words will show up on the exam, so I want you to remember those. So when a person dies and they die intestate, then the state will take over in the form of a legality, a legal process called probate. So the property, and we're talking about real property. I don't care about their cars or their bank accounts or anything like that. The real property. The real property sits in the deceased's name. The only way for the surviving family to get access to that real property or to get title of that real property is for the assessor's office or the recorder's office to see that that real property has passed through the probate process. You cannot take or go into the recorder's office with any kind of documentation and say, this is my property, go ahead and put it in my name. They're not going to do that without the proper paperwork showing that you have been before a probate judge and that judge has deemed you to be the rightful owner of the deceased's property, real property. So when, let's say, for example, I want to use a real life example, something that really could happen, because sometimes, you know, without context, it's very cloudy and fuzzy. So let's say you are an agent and somebody approaches you and says, and this is a real life thing, this is a very possible circumstance. It's happened to me several times. Somebody comes up to you and says, my mom just died. She told me I would get the house, and so I need to sell this house. Okay, that's great. You know, we can definitely take care of that. However, the house is in the name of this person's mom. How are we going to sell it? He can't sign off. So he must contact a lawyer, a probate lawyer, and start the probate process. What if, you ask, he's the only child this person had? Wouldn't it just go to him? No, because there might be people coming forward saying, look, I have a lien on this house, or you know, I put on a new roof and I never got paid. And these are very real possibilities that this could happen. And then another person comes out of the woodwork and says, no, she promised me the house. You know, so this is why probate is so necessary, because the person will go to the probate lawyer, hire them. The probate lawyer will then set a court date so that the judge can see all the evidence that points to the person you're speaking with to be the rightful owner of the property. What else does it do? It also puts the public on notice through public publications in a newspaper. I believe they're still doing that way. Putting the public on notice that, hey, this house, if this person owed you money, or you think this is your house, or you share a portion of it, this is your chance to come forward. So that publication has to be out there for a certain number of days in case, you know, maybe the guy who painted it last year never got paid. And so he sees the publication and he's like, oh, I have a claim. So he's going to come forward and he's going to contact the lawyer and say, I do have a claim. So at the end of the period, the waiting period, then all of this evidence goes before the judge. The lawyer brings it before the judge. Anyone who's opposed or has, you know, liens or claims, that would also be before the judge. And the judge is going to say, he's going to look at all the evidence and he's going to say, based on the evidence provided, I believe, or I am going to rule that this real property does in fact belong to the one surviving child of the deceased. So then they will have some documentation that will need to be recorded against the deed that gives the title now this person's name. So that process, there's no way on earth to get around that process, except for one. And this is something that has to be done before the person passes. That way is through a trust. Now, to set up a trust, you also have to see an attorney, and the process itself costs, I think, between probably $2,000 and $3,000. I'm guessing high because I think I paid $1,500, but it was a while ago. So what is a trust? Okay, I'm gonna explain it to you in the way it was explained to me and the way I could understand it, because it can get kind of cloudy. So a trust is, okay, let's say the lady set up a trust before, she passed. So she went to the lawyer and she says, look, I am sick and I don't want my family members to have to go through probate. So I'd like to set up a trust. So the lawyer says, okay, good. Hand over the money. And what he does is, and what the trust process is, in its most simple terms, is she is giving her property away while she's able to do it for after she passes. She's giving her property away now. She no longer will own it. Once you set up a trust and put the property in it, you no longer own it. You've already given it away. Whatever the trust says will happen to the property after she passes has already been done. That person that she gave it to is only letting her borrow it until she dies. So a trust is a way to give away your property and you asking to borrow it until you die. Does that make sense? So when you have your property in a trust, let's say, here's another benefit of a trust. If you have your property in a trust and somebody says, you owe me $1 million, I'm going to sue your butt. And they sue you and they say, I want to get that house. Guess what? She doesn't own a house. She doesn't own a house at all. She already gave it away. So a trust also protects the originators, I guess, whoever, from litigation because they own nothing. And not only that, let's say her son, who is the trust, the beneficiary of the trust, let's say he gets sued. Well, he doesn't have anything either because he's loaned it to his mom until she dies. So trusts are, I'm not, I should sell trusts, but I don't get any kickbacks or anything, but I'm just saying trusts are very, very useful tool in the United States to just protect your real property. So let's say this scenario is the same. The guy comes to you and says, I need to sell my mom's house. She passed and I'd like to sell it. And you ask, okay, or you run the title report and you run it and it says that it's the titled as the trust of the Johnson Family Trust dated, whatever date. And that's usually how they read. And then you're like, oh, well, that's wonderful. Your mom put it in a trust, so you are already the owner. You see how that works? It's already done because it's in a trust and he is the beneficiary of the trust. He's already, there's no other thing that needs to be done. All she passes and it's immediately in his hands. He can do whatever he wants with the property. There's no legal action that has to take place. In the probate process, so first a lawyer has to be hired. The lawyer will go through all the steps with publication and making sure, doing a title search, making sure there's no liens that were recorded. They will also make sure that there's no leases against the property or anything like that. So, and there's a real tricky part when you're selling something through probate, real property through probate. So the court asks you to list the house. So you're going to list the house, and the process of probate will end with the confirmation of the sale of the property. So when you fill out the lease list or the probate listing addendum, because you'll have a listing agreement and then the listing addendum. When you fill out the listing addendum, it'll say, does the court need to confirm the sale? You will mark yes. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. So once you list the property and you find a buyer, then the buyer will be in escrow during this court process. Once the judge confirms the sale, in other words, he's saying, yep, it's okay for you to sell it, something very strange happens. The court now gives anyone the opportunity to come in and bid over what the seller agreed to pay. Why? Who knows? It's the weirdest thing. So you've gone through this process with your seller. He's at the courthouse. The judge is getting ready to confirm the sale. And before that happens, he's going to give the public the opportunity to outbid his buyer, which, hardly ever happens, because when you put a property on the market, you're going to sell it to the highest and best, correct? You're not going to, sell it to the lowest. You're going to market it. You're going to do like you would any other property. So you've already got the highest offer that you were able to get while it was on the market. So you come into court, you have your offer. The judge says, okay, now anybody want to bid more? And let's say somebody does. Well, they're going to have to bid over market price because you just got market price when you put it on the market. But let's say somebody does. Okay, there's rules. For one thing, it has to be over 10% higher than the offer that you've already gotten. That's going to put it not only above market, but way above market. So it very rarely happens, but I just think it's the weirdest thing. Why do they even do that? Anyway, once that period has passed, the marketing period, then the court confirms your sale and you're free to close escrow. So when you have a probate listing, because you have to go through this court process, it may take you maybe an extra 30 days to close escrow. So when you're estimating the close of escrow, you want to make sure that you allow additional time. So instead of a 30-day escrow, which is typical, you may want to make it a 45 or 60-day escrow in a probate sale. All right. Does anyone have any questions, or was that understandable?
Yes, it made sense.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes sense to me too.
Yeah.
Same here.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's just if you don't understand what is going on, it can be very frustrating to get through. But you really want to have a clear understanding of all the steps, because you want to be able to report this to your client. Your client depends on you to give them the confidence to move forward. And if you kind of seem like you don't know what's going on, that's gonna work in the opposite way. You're gonna take away confidence, and you just don't want that. Let's see. I think that's yeah, there's really nothing more than that when it comes
Oh
to
wait, Bobby, can I ask you a quick question?
yes.
It's about the trust. Once you make the trust, are you able to change it, or you have to keep it as is? Like, let's say you put, I don't know, one child, but then you decided you wanted to put your child and your grandchild. I don't know. Are you
Yes.
able to go and change it?
That's a really
Okay.
good
I just
question.
wasn't sure.
Yeah, so usually the attorney will charge you for any changes you make, but in most cases, if you want to make a change to your trust, it's more important than whatever it costs, It's just,
Okay.
like you said, adding a child, or, sometimes parents will put children in their trust, and then the child maybe goes off in another direction, and
Mhm.
parents are like, I don't even want him having this money because he's just going to blow it. So they change their trust. There's what's called what is it called? It's a certain clause that if the child is not enrolled in school, or you can
Mhm.
put whatever you want. You can say must be enrolled full-time in college and must be gainfully employed. Otherwise, they don't get this share of the
Mhm.
trust. So you can even make it to that detail and control what happens with the contents in the trust. But yes, you can make changes. What I would do is, if you're gonna go to a lawyer and set up a trust, get that, get that upfront. So ask the attorney, how many changes am I allowed to make for free? And how
Mhm.
often can I make changes?
Okay.
Yeah, because you don't want to get in a situation, oh, I got a great deal on this trust, but he's gonna charge me out the yin yang, you know.
If I make a change,
changes.
yeah.
Yeah. So, any more questions? Okay, well, I think that was a good topic. If you have questions as you're going through the material, you can always text me. You have my new number, so you can text me directly to me, and I'm happy to stop and give you an answer or give you some resources to help you to understand the material. Because the real secret here is, if you actually understand what's going on, it's very easy to choose the right answer, because you understand it. Another tip, if you go through the vocabulary, that's going to help you a ton, because a lot of it is just knowing what these darn words mean. You'll learn a lot of new words, like we did today. Intestate. All right. If there's nothing else, I'll let y'all go. Ishmael, am I going to see you on Wednesday?
Yes, Wednesday, because
All right.
Monday's another case.
Then let's go ahead and plan to sit together and get you squared away on this material, okay?
Okay.
Okay, great.
Thank you
All
so much.
right. You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Thank you, Bobby.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. See you
Have-
Thank
Monday.
you.
Have a wonderful
Bye-bye.
rest of your day.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Bobby. Have a good
Bye.
weekend, guys.
Bye.
Bye.